Good morning, boys and girls. It's been a few weeks since I've talked to you. I'm sorry. I've missed you, and today I bring us a special guest. He's come a few times. And of course, Jesus talks about dogs. He may not have talked about dogs in the nicest way, but here is Milo. Milo, and those of you who have dogs, know that dogs love unconditionally. They care, and they show us they care for us. There might be a squirrel or a rabbit out there. What I love about Milo is no matter what kind of day I've had, and I come home, he greets me, and he's excited that I have showed up. He shows me love and affection, and that he cares for me. And so, Milo, also, an interesting thing, people ask me, well, what does Milo mean? Where did you get the name Milo? Well, Milo means mercy. And weaving through our text today talks about mercy. Mercy is compassion, feeling for someone, grace, favor, love that responds to human need in an unexpected or unmerited way. Or it's that punishment that we deserve. We did something really bad, but God or our parents say to us, it's okay. No punishment today. Just as Milo shares his love and grace and mercy, new each morning, so does Jesus. So as you go about your week, how can we think like Milo or God when we think about our neighbors and those around us? When we show our neighbors compassion and love? When we meet others where they're at and give not what they deserve, but what comes from God? So just as Milo brings me comfort during this crazy time we're encountering, some of you are starting school, some of you are starting school online. Know that Pastor Jim and I love you, and we're here for you and your family, and we're thinking about you. We know all the transitions that are going on are hard, and the decisions that the parents are making and the school districts are making are not easy. Know that you are not alone in this. As we journey with each other, may we show each other mercy. So our texts this morning, they seem to be all over. And actually, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. Jesus didn't act the best, did he? He was not the nicest at first to the Canaanite woman. But I think some of that is cultural. Jesus was a Jew. So were the disciples and the religious leaders. And Jesus was there for people to accept and love him. But so when Jesus explained this parable to the disciples, he focused on what comes out of the person instead of what's inside the person or goes in. He is paying attention to what's on the heart of the person. So keep that in mind. The Canaanite woman is seen as other. Back in Noah's time, this is Noah's son Ham, who was cursed forever. And they are seen as Canaanites, which Jews believe they were lower than dogs. And in Jesus' time, in the Jews, dogs were not pets. Dogs weren't like what we have. They just roamed around. They weren't cared about. And so the Canaanite woman, she was an other. She was seen by the Jews as an outcast. But people had been talking. People had said that Jesus is different. That Jesus cares. That Jesus has come to bring healing, wholeness, and mercy. So here we are. Not only is Jesus's audience this Canaanite woman, but Matthew is writing this gospel to Jewish followers, people who are hearing that they live in a time that they follow all these laws of what goes in my mouth, it makes me cleaner and clean. You know, whether eating with clean hands makes me unclean or not. So Jesus turns it all around. And he's teaching the Jewish people, and maybe even himself a little bit, that what defiles a person is not the meat you put in your body, but what comes out. So Jesus is saying that our race doesn't defile us, ethnicity, gender, disability, or class. What defiles us is what is in the heart and comes out of our mouth. So this woman has heard about the grace and healing of Jesus. So this woman finds Jesus not in Jesus's homeland, but her own homeland. And if you're like any parent, if you have a child, you want to do whatever you can to help and protect your child. And so this woman thought maybe her only hope was Jesus. So because she had heard so much about him, she followed after him, screaming persistently, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by demons." At first, Jesus ignores her. And the question leads me, does he ignore her because she's other? Or is he trying to make a point? So as we think about the Canaanite woman as an other, those who are lower than dogs, who are they in our society that are other, that we claim are others, that we push to the fringes and the borders? People not born here, the blacks and the whites who are protesting and taking a stand for Black Lives Matters, the injustice of people losing their lives because of the color of their skin. Those who are in lower class than us, those who may need the food from the food pantries, those who are not working, those who are different, about those who are imprisoned. Are others the young? Woman? Because this This Canaanite woman was classified an other, not just because she was Canaanite, but also because she was a woman. Are others those who are not Danish, Swedish, or German? This is hard stuff, folks. I want you to think about your language that you use. Anytime we say us or them, we're calling somebody an other. Do we expect the other to become like us to be accepted? So this woman, not only a woman, a parent, does whatever she can to save her child. Even acting in a way some would have deemed wrong in her time. Women do not go up to men and kneel before them. But she persisted. And she persisted that the truth of the gospel was not just shared with the Jews. That God sent Jesus not only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but this lady's persistence led Jesus to understand that he was there for more than the house of Israel. He was there for more than the Jews, God's chosen people. All people are God's chosen people. This woman claimed her voice. She persisted. She called Jesus out at the table. And just as you and I know, God's table's for all, not for some. This means it's for you and me, but it is also for those who don't look like us, for those who don't act like us. The Canaanite woman's faith and persistence teach him that God's purpose, teach Jesus that God's purpose for him is bigger than he imagined, and that there is enough of him to go around. This was a shift in Jesus's ministry. And I think this text leads us to shift our own ministry, to think about ways that we are not providing mercy for all. When we choose to think that God's mercy is just for those who are like us, white-skinned, middle class, those who look like us and act like us. But Martin Luther states, injustice anywhere. Martin Luther King Jr. states, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of neutrality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.